The question on the minds of many Kenyans is how are Rift Valley votes going to go? Okay, there's a lot of speculation because a lot of people do not understand the history of the Rift Valley very well. They do not understand the voters of the Rift Valley very well. Even I do not understand the voters of Rift Valley completely. However, what I have got is a history of how they voted in the past. What I have got is ears on the ground. So I think I'm in a little bit of a better position to be able to brief you how the Rift Valley most likely is going to go. Now, make no mistake about it. The Rift Valley vote is going to decide who is going to be elected president. Let me repeat that because it's very important. Out of all the regions in our beautiful country, the region which is going to decide who the 2017 winner of the presidential elections is the Rift Valley. We are talking about, as of February this year, over 3.3 million votes. Now, that's a lot of votes. That is a lot of votes. You cannot ignore those votes. So Rift Valley is very important. So let's get to it immediately. Let's analyze exactly how the Rift Valley vote will go. Before I go on any further, I think it's very important for every Kenyan to know the kind of tactics that are bound to be used in the Rift Valley to get votes. Now, how do I know the kind of tactics that are going to be used? Because if you if you listen to my previous recording, the players in the Rift Valley are almost exactly the same players we had in 2007 when trouble broke out, okay? It's just that they've shifted positions slightly, yeah? Because in the Rift Valley in 2007, if I can remind you, the main player was one William Ruto, who is the current deputy president. But what people did not know is that the main person who was doing all the hard work in the grassroots was a person called Isaac Ruto. Yes, the current Bomet governor. So what has happened is that they've shifted positions. They're now on opposite sides. William Ruto, of course, is the DP and will be campaigning for Jubilee. But recently, Isaac Ruto has joined the NASA coalition as a principal, and he will be campaigning for votes to go towards NASA and whoever the flag bearer will be. Now, the tactics that are going to be used are not good tactics. They are not good for the peace of Kenya. They are not good in many ways. But as I keep saying here, politics is a very dirty game. There are no rules in politics. The only rule in politics is to win at all costs. Yeah? If you can get away with as much as you can get away with, you push it to the limit and get those votes. Yeah? Because the idea is to win. Yeah? All the other issues will take care of themselves later. Now, those tactics I cannot discuss here. You realize this is a very highly sensitive issue. You can get them in my club 1999. I've done a very special report. I've referred to I've given examples even of how the same tactics were used in 2007. And I've also indicated that we're exactly in the same position we were in 2007 before the elections. And I have given my reasons why I believe this. I've mentioned names. I've given a lot of information there, yeah. So bear with me because I cannot be able to share that here in the open network. But it is very easy these days to be a member of Club 1999. You actually get it virtually free. You can become a member virtually free. Okay, just go over to the Kumekucha blog, kumekucha.blogspot.com, and you get the details there. Become a member in a minute. Anyway, let's proceed. Now, let's put the tactics aside. So, what is going to happen is that, of course, Bwana Isaac Ruto is going to try very much to convince the Kalenjin nation to vote NASA. Okay? And of course, William Ruto, who is very widely popular across the Rift Valley, especially with the younger generation, is going also to convince or do his best to convince voters to vote that side and to give Jubilee a second term. Now, according to the information I have from the ground, the Rift Valley vote is going to be split. Now, for anybody who understands anything about Rift Valley and the way they vote, this is very strange and it's unique. Actually, it has never happened before. Okay? But here are my reasons why I believe the vote is going to be split. We have supporters of the DP William Ruto. These are very radical, wale supporters, you can say in Kiswahili, supporters wa damu. There's no way they're going to be shifted away from where the DP is. Okay, we have those supporters. Now, those supporters of voters are mostly younger people. Okay? On the other side, Bwana Isaac Ruto will be starting with his grassroots supporters within Bomet County, which has 5 constituencies, a lot of votes there. But he will also seek to spread further out the way he did in 2007. So it's just a question of being able to sell the right agenda. Actually, the truth is being able to get the right emotions going amongst Kalenjin voters so that they're able to vote NASA. Okay? Now, an interesting aside here to convince you further that the Kalenjin vote is going to be split is that for the first time in history, we have the Kalenjin have a situation whereby whichever side they vote, they will be in government. Okay? The belief, the driving factor amongst voting the Rift Valley has been, and you'll hear, I've repeated this several times, and even if you do your own due diligence, you will realize that what I'm telling you is the truth. The voting psychology in the Rift Valley is that they must vote in such a way that they're in government. Yeah, which makes sense. Because they believe if they're out of government, then there's no point. Yeah, and chances are that they're going to be left out of development. They're going to not benefit from the government, and yet their vote must be beneficial to them and to the community as a whole. So for the first time in history, the Kalenjin have 2 choices. Yeah, whichever side they vote for, they will be able to benefit as a community. Now, one would argue that if they vote for one side, that is Jubilee, they're bound to benefit more than if they voted for the NASA side. However, you can be sure, and you can take this to the bank, that Isaac Ruto is going to ask them to produce the results of what they've gained from the other side. Okay? And that's easy. This is politics. That's very easy to downplay. It's very easy to disprove. No matter how good, no matter how much development Jubilee has done, during campaign time, it is very easy to shoot it down. Yeah, before the voters. So that's what's going to happen. So that is the situation. Now we need to also ask ourselves another question. Is it possible that the Kalenjin vote will shift more or will lean more towards one of the candidates? Is that a possibility? Yes, it is. Especially when you look at the kind of tactics that are going to be used, that is a very high possibility. Yeah. Now, earlier on, I had said that it is emotions which count when it comes to voting. Now, I recently had a very interesting discussion with somebody, and they were trying to disprove this and saying, no, normally with elections, you go to the voters, you tell them A, B, C, D, you tell them you've done this, you reason to them, you sell them an idea, and then they'll vote according to how good your ideas are. Anybody who buys that one has never been involved in an election campaign. Okay? Anybody who thinks that that is the correct position or the correct way things work is an armchair analyst. Somebody who sits in a comfortable office somewhere, somebody who sits behind a computer somewhere, reads through articles and uses their brains and their experience and their whatever, and they try and analyze things from the armchair. Now, the problem with an armchair analyst is that it is very easy to get a lot of things wrong. Yeah, especially if you do not understand the terrain, you don't understand the history, you don't understand the geography of the place you're dealing with, it is very easy to get it wrong. Now, I can tell you for a fact that people do not vote issues. People vote emotions. How many times have I been around a voting area, then I hear somebody says, I can't vote for so-and-so. I just don't like him. Yeah? Isn't that emotions? Voting is driven by emotions. Yes, we're a tribal country and we vote along tribal lines. But what is tribe? Tribe drums up emotions. So we're back to the same thing. It is all emotional. Let me just give you an example from a few years back. There was a gigantic political battle in the 90s, I believe, when both these people are dead, of course, when somebody called Paul Ngei was defending his Kangundo seat, and KANU had positioned retired General Jackson Mulinge to stand up against him and to remove him. Actually, it was a plan of Moi to remove Ngei from that particular constituency, Kangundo, which had represented since independence for a very long time. Yeah, the man literally did nothing, but the seat was just like his, So they plotted and they decided they're going to remove him, and they decided to use General Jackson Mulinge. Now, the retired general had a very long, distinguished career in the military, and he was a very development-conscious person. He had a very good track record in terms of development, and everybody knew that. But he got defeated. And an even better he got defeated totally on the fact that what Ngei did was to drum up emotions against the general. He drummed up sympathy that people want to finish him. He drummed up sympathy that he had been cornered by outsiders, and these outsiders were coming and they wanted to take over the constituency, and the rest is history. Ngei won very easily without even breaking into a sweat. An even better example was one in his own, Kadhiani constituency, where he was the incumbent at that time. And during one of the campaigns, I can't remember off the cuff which year it was, but during one of the campaigns, and this was quoted in the national press, very widely quoted, he came to a certain campaign meeting, then he started telling people that, look at these roads which I've given you, look at this project which I've done for you. And those were visible projects, everybody could see them, and everybody acknowledged those projects were there. Look, I've done this and this for this constituency, and I've done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, I'm sure not all of us are familiar with the Kamba language, but I understand that the Kamba have a way of saying, the way of saying take it away with you. They say osa. So when he started saying, I've built these roads for you, the people shouted back at him, osa, meaning take it with you. We don't need it. Yeah? So my point is, people do not win elections according to the development records. People do not win elections according to their blueprint. It all boils down to emotions. Yeah? Let me just clarify that. Yes, it's good to have a blueprint. It's good to have a plan. But you prepare all those things and then be very careful about what kind of emotions are created in the voters. That's really what it is. And even if you look at human psychology, we are told that in human psychology, we all make decisions based on our emotions and feelings. And then later on, after we've already made the decision, we try and look for the logic to support our emotional decision. That's how humans make their decisions. And I was reading a very interesting article the other day about the best salespeople in the world. And they were saying the big secret these people have is that they simply drum up the emotions of their prospective customers. And once they've drummed up the emotions of their prospective customers, they then give them the logic. So the people already emotional, unaongezea logic, game shot. It's all over, it's done. So that's how elections are done. So this is what's going to be, emotions are going to be key, all over the country. But I was just trying to emphasize how they're going to be used in the Rift Valley, actually in a bad way. Yeah? That's why it's very important that you catch what I've written in, what I've said in Club 1999, even the video, as well as the detailed report I have done. And then you'll understand this very clearly. You'll be able to agree with me that this is exactly what is going to happen at the Rift Valley. So which presidential candidate will benefit the most? It is too early. We will need to carefully examine how the campaign goes for at least the first 2 weeks of intensive campaigns, and then it will be easier to make a call that is bound to be accurate. But as of now, making any call would be pure speculation. Okay? So thanks very much for giving me your time. This is Chris Kumekucha. And by the way, before I go, maybe I should just give you a bit more details about how you can get that information. I've kept on repeating during this recording about the tactics bound to be used for the campaigns in the Rift Valley and why I think they are dangerous. Now all you need to do is go over to the Kumekucha blog, kumekucha.blogspot.com, and you'll get information on how you can immediately become a Club 1999 member. But there's also another bonus. I also recently found a way of releasing some information that is highly sensitive. Actually, there are about 4 or 5 articles that have been defeated to release because they are way too sensitive. Too sensitive even for Club 1999. So what I've done is that I'm offering the articles as a gift to everybody who becomes a Club 1999 member. Yeah, it's titled Articles That I Was Too Terrified to Publish. Yeah, and they're all there. In fact, if you look up on this screen right now, you're going to see a link to that particular video I've done, which gives you more details about those articles. So that's another incentive for you to be a Club 1999 member. It's virtually free to be a member, and you'll also be able to get these articles completely free. There's no charge for it. So thanks very much for your time. This is Chris Kumekucha. Until next time.